Hello and welcome to this is a game from week 11 Worldwide People's Championships final between Arkansas and U1700. Surprisingly, Arkansas is British, so still a strange name, but let's see how well he plays. He is going to be Seraphim playing land, taking on U1700, who's defending his title, also playing Seraphim. Looks like second land with 5 P-gens, pretty standard. 3 cross P-gens, you may choose to go to the Hydro. A lot of times players choose not to. It's a little bit of walking. You can put yourself in a disadvantage, especially if you're going all out land. You don't really need to go after the Hydro. Of course, this is a pretty late cast for week 11, but we had some server problems, of course, in the beginning of this week, which kind of shifted things forward. Of course, week 12 is beginning. The U1700 division is looking really good. Divisions are a little light, but that's alright. We still should have good best of 5 finals. Also want to remind people not to forget about direct challenges. Now looking back at this game, we're seeing a raiding group coming out of Fort Arkansas. 2 tanks and a Saline moving out through the middle. We see a tank and a Saline moving out through the middle for U1700. They might meet each other here. 2 engineers to the Hydro for U1700. And it looks like all out land spam here. No error whatsoever. Of course, this is a game 1 of this best of 5 series, which means Arkansas, the challenger, has chosen this map. And appears he did go to the Hydro with his ACU. He's a little behind on factories now. Well, it's actually he's ahead, sorry. All these plans kind of threw me. U1700 now walking to the middle. Actually a tank. Slows down, sneaks in. Might do some damage. This is a nice placement on a flak here. It's going to be very useless given that there's absolutely no air. Some engineers getting taken out. So early on, U1700 with his raiding group are doing very well, although we see good raiding from Arkansas as well. Deny that engineer. Arkansas playing very wide and very direct from U1700. U1700 just going through the middle, avoiding the wide tanks of Arkansas and doing quite a bit of damage here. An engineer. Now looks like this tank, after doing his job with 2 kills, will be taken out. This map, a lot of reclaim in these corners. You do not want to neglect it. Looking from the top, it's actually a big mountain here. You never want to forget about this mountain when you're fighting. It's very important terrain. And also in the middle, there's big holes, which makes it quite difficult to fight. Definitely a big advantage for Seraphim on this map. Given this deck 1 Artie, and both players going with Seraphim. One other really awesome thing that has happened on FAF, of course, is the replay vault is now been implemented, which is awesome. It's got some really great features, searching by player, by map, by rating. I mean, you can spend weeks on there watching games, and I think it's going to be a great resource to learn the game. Probably lead to some very good casts in the future as well. I think it'll be much easier for all the casters. Find a good game, so no excuse not to cast. Of course, only after you finished your Worldwide People's Championship final casts, then you can go ahead and find something really good. Of course, there's also a new channel for a Bad Company. Clan has its own channel now. They're doing some casts, so we have quite a few now. Arkansas and U1700 now meet each other in the middle. See the micro here. You want to keep the ACU as far forward as possible. It's actually very important to fight over this position. It's got a lot of reclaim, so you don't want to just give it up. U1700 excellent, overcharge 6 kills. Arkansas still no kills. U1700 being very neat with his units, keeping them back and looking at wide. This is just excellent Saline here, hiding. The good thing about Saline is Arkansas has no idea that there's a unit there. Now Arkansas is going to see that there's a whole bunch of units moving in this direction. We get some units in support. Arkansas actually losing some health. And here, when playing Seraphim, very important not to walk in a straight line. You get in a lot of trouble against artillery. You want to always be switching direction, zigzagging. And now this map has been split horizontally. Massive land spam, still no air. 6 land factories. It appears we're going to see an air factory after 5, or actually 6 land factories for both players here. Exactly the same in Arkansas now. He's going to push air. See reclaim. Actually, it's going to be an important thing to check. No engineer reclaiming up in the top corner for Zafed X, while Arkansas 2300, plenty of mass and storage. Looks like the power has been a little low for Arkansas. He's not got one engineer, making a couple more, which is nice, I guess, but it's a little dangerous. A little less reclaim for Zafed X, but doesn't really make that much difference because he's actually using the mass that he has. And actually now Zafed moving in. And this is excellent right here on the bottom corner. Much more power for Zafed X. That's really been a big difference in this game. Oh yeah, and a point defense. Excellent point defense from Arkansas. You can use this. I think we just saw Zafed X has no idea that it's there. So the point defense, if you can defend it against artillery. There are a couple of Tech 1 arties here, and I think they're already on the case. Zafed X immediately recognizing the threat. And Arkansas is going to try to get the gun. This might be very dangerous. Those engineers might be taken out. This is the point where you got to get a couple tanks and take out those arties. Looks like it's going to be a little late. Arkansas losing a couple of those engineers is going to really slow down his upgrade. And of course, we are now seeing bombers. 3 kills. Excellent. This bomber was on the case to kill the arty. Was a little late. Oh, this is great sneaky tanks for Zafed X here, minute 8. Going all the way on the outside of the map. And another great bomb from Arkansas. So far, this game 1 of this final, U1700 final, has been very good. Arkansas halfway on his upgrade. If he can get that upgrade, he can really turn this game. But he's got to deal with these tanks. He can do quite a bit of damage. He's going to take out mass extractors. And if they can take out all those P-gens, it's going to be absolutely devastating. And, imagine Arkansas absolutely stalling here on basically everything. If he gets a little bit of mass, he's going to power stall hardcore. It's definitely not the time you want to be losing mass extractors here in the back. And when you're getting an upgrade like this and you begin stalling, this is when you pause all your factories. You want to get that upgrade as soon as possible, and you find yourself in that situation. There's no reason to just wait. And this is a devastating attack from Zafed X. In a typical situation, when a player is just fighting, that type of raid wouldn't have done too much damage, but because it was done exactly when Arkansas was getting his upgrade, and he was in that power stall, he was very vulnerable. And now finally Arkansas has got his gun. Let's see if he can turn this. Actually, it looks like Zafed's got a gun as well, so it's not really going to give a huge advantage. And these units need to get into the fight. They're really not part of the action. They did their job. And you can see in terms of just what's going on the map, much more organized for Zafed X. I don't actually remember any raids happening up on top. A lot of really bad things happened to Arkansas here on the bottom of that raiding group, and I really gotta say, that raiding group won the game for Zafed X. Zafed and Arkansas getting the gun at the same time, even though Arkansas started his gun a little earlier. That total economic collapse, which was worsened by the raiding group, really cost him a lot of time. So hopefully people enjoyed this game 1. We're going to move on to game 2. The next 3 games are going to be chosen by Zafed X, and if there's a game 5, it will be chosen by Arkansas. Hello and welcome to the second game in this best of 5 between Zafed X and Arkansas at the U1700 finals here, week 11. And once again, we're seeing all-out Seraphim action. This time the map was chosen by Zafed X, and Arkansas has basically a wall to climb here. Going first land. Red Rocks, I believe, is still a map that's on the rank ladder, although I haven't seen it in a while. It's really hated by many people, but it's actually quite a nice map. And a big advantage for both Aeon and Seraphim, of course, because they can just walk across. And in this map, you must absolutely take early engineers and go to the middle mass and eventually get your ACU there as well. There's, of course, also this upper ledge. And to get there, the best way to do it is just get an engineer here and build. Because there's a couple of good reclaims and, of course, the Hydra. One thing really not to do is to run to the middle like Zafed X is doing. You want to get engineers there and the early air to secure it, and then bring the ACU. The ACU is significantly slower than engineers. So it's actually good to get engineers here quicker. Because the longer the distance, the bigger going to be the difference in the time it's going to take between 2 units that use different speed. Now Zafed X is going to walk over. to the middle. But of course, there is also a good advantage if you get your ACU to the middle and get some building going on. You're going to be much more secure, but it's not the optimal build. We can see an engineer now for Arkansas going to the middle. This is the right move right here. And also floating arty is going to be looking for any... Oh yeah, this is hopeful from Zafed X. I don't know if this is actually going to work. Actually, it probably will. This is a nice move order here. It will make sure that the engine doesn't get confused. Now we're going to see second air from Arkansas. That should be nice. We still don't see what the second factory is going to be for Zafed X. Actually, no, it's an air factory up on top, so this is good stuff for Zafed X. It definitely looks like Arkansas so far, knowing a little more about this map. Now here comes an engineer for Zafed X. He's got a massive land spam planned. He's actually got an engineer in support. So these two engineers, if they don't get taken out by bombers, are going to be extremely valuable. By this point, whoever gets air, this is the best target right here for Arkansas. Big investment, walking with an NG. Let me speed this up. And of course, this is also a big investment, this whole distance for Zafed X. So you want to take those out with the early bombers. Here comes an early bomber for Arkansas. Let's see if he does it. And we're also seeing an early Navy from Arkansas. Zafed X going straight to the middle. And if he would have sent an early engineer to the middle, he would have already had an NG here reclaiming. Of course, it would be vulnerable to this early bomber. Let's see what this early bomber does. It's actually a very critical point here in minute 4. And it appears the bomber is going to be sidetracked by arty. Successfully takes out the arty, of course. Now Zafed X knows there is a bomber. He's got an air factory making interceptor, so the bomber won't have too long to fight. But really, taking out artillery is not the best way to use your early bomber. Successful factory now for Arkansas. He's got 3 engineers here. And the ACU for Arkansas moving to the middle. Although we see now Zafed X, he's going to get the benefit of running to the middle. He's going to get quite a bit of mass reclaim. Meanwhile, 2 kills on this bomber. Very disappointing he didn't take out those engineers. And now it looks like he might be taken out. Here comes a bomber though for Zafed X. He's also got some inties. And now Zafed X getting into mass extractor. He should probably only get to keep. He's got to be careful. A couple tanks here for Arkansas, although he's got some tanks here as well. A bomber. Looks like that bomber for Arkansas got another kill, perhaps. Maybe. Now the bomber for Zafed X flying over some flak. Looks like it will be taken out. And both players establishing a base, although we're seeing a 4th land factory now for Zafed X. It's going to give him a huge advantage. Only 2 land factories for Arkansas. One difference, of course. Oh yeah, this is the transport that was spotted, although NTs take care of the threat. This bomber's got nothing to do. And this is a nice arty, if you could just see that message. And another floating art. So Zafed X using Seraphim's floating arties quite well, sending them all over the place. Tech 2 mask extractors for Arkansas, doing a little upgrading. Also a little upgrading for Zafed X. And now the 2 ACUs are going to meet in the middle. Actually, Arkansas already less than half the health. He's got to be very careful. He's got some units of his own, and Arkansas is standing still here. Looks like he forgot about his ACU, and he's going to lose a lot of health. Zafed X is going to forgive him and walk away. Although it is going to cost Arkansas a couple of units here, a couple of good overcharges. Arkansas 4 kills. Zafed X 4 kills, but a lot less health. Arkansas needs to get a lot more land factories. He's just getting stirred. And this is where that bomber from Arkansas could have made a huge difference. He would have taken out those engineers making these factories. Would have really slowed Zafed X down, but it didn't happen, and I would see a big advantage in terms of land for Zafed X. A lot of engineers just chilling out on water here. Maybe they want to start some naval. A lot of power storages, more power spam. Still no Tech 2, but nice air spam from Zafed X. Zafed X doing a good thing here. He's got multiple air factories and just 1 land factory. He's making engineers on his starting position and really investing heavily into the middle base. One thing to note, nobody's got anything on the side islands. We did see that transport
Here it is from Arkansas. Let's see if he's successful at dropping that off. Zayfed not getting the gun. Arkansas just building more land factories. And he really needs to get a land force going very strongly. Arkansas needs to take these subs and start denying units trying to walk across. They're actually very good for denying engineers trying to get across. Now in terms of air, this is now a pretty big air force for Zayfed here, minute 9. We'd also see a good air force for Arkansas, but this is way more interceptors. The bomber here is going to get taken out. That's really because there's 2 air factories working on air for Zayfed. So overall, much better build capacity, especially with factories for Zayfed in this one. Checking the reclaim, 4600, nearly 1000 power. Arkansas about 1000 less reclaim and about half the power. And then I think the ACU for Zayfed getting to the middle. Those are a couple nice mass chunks there. Got a big advantage. Now we see air fight over Arkansas's base. Looks like Zayfed could have won it, but instead he's just going to fly back while getting shot. Successful drop for Arkansas. He's got a point defense. He's going to deny this factory. Looks like a couple mass extractors up on top. It's going to be very important if Arkansas has any hope. And Arkansas now very low on health with Zayfed with the gun, with the superior force moving in. And Arkansas, if he hopes of living here, needs to just retreat. Looks like Arkansas is going to dive in head first. That's probably the wrong move against a superior force. Zayfed already with 18 kills, Arkansas 6. And Zayfed is just going to shred all this force together with the ACU. And once all that force is killed, he'll move in. He'll kill the production. So Arkansas leaving the field of battle. And he will be chased down and killed a little later. There's really not much hope here for Arkansas at this point. Still no Tech 2 air. Tech 2 air would be nice. It would be nice to grab that bottom base as well. Zayfed now 33 kills. Walking toward these land factories while Arkansas is just running away. Arkansas looks like it took a very long time to get up on top here. And now we're going to see Tech 2 air from Arkansas. He's got Tech 2 engineer. And now total devastation. Zayfed has now basically claimed the whole middle map for himself. Nothing that Arkansas will be able to do. Arkansas just running into the water. So Arkansas has starting position on one of the islands. If he grabs the other island, he might be able to compete with Zayfed, but doesn't look like he's got it. We got Tech 2 bombers now coming out for Arkansas. And this is the last land factory now for Arkansas on the main island. We got a couple of these, actually 5 Tech 1 submarines. That's going to make water very dangerous for Zayfed if he is forced into the water. Of course, Zayfed excellent air force here, so they should be able to protect his ACU. But looks like all-out land spam here. Also Tech 2 point defense for Arkansas, anticipating floating already moving in. Now Arkansas walking through the water. Nobody's dropping that island. That's really annoying. Looks like 3 Tech 2 mass extractors going Tech 2 air. Zayfed, we only got 2 Tech 2 mass extractors, and now we also have about 4 or 5 Tech 2 bombers. Floating already now making their way across. Good move with the Tech 2 point defense. It's really going to deny those. 43 kills for Zayfed, nearly full health. And this naval factory is going to die, although it did create 6 submarines. Arkansas here just hoping about a snipe. That's all he's got hope for. Tech 2 flag, Tech 2 point defense. Snipe is going to be very difficult though, given all those interceptors. Although now Zayfed moving into the water. These submarines need to get on the case and start shooting them. Arkansas making his way on dry land. He's going to play some defense against floating arty. And now it looks like Zayfed is going to walk into these submarines. Very dangerous thing to do, given that he has no sonar. And he's going to be losing health very quickly. Zayfod X is going to now retreat, realizing that perhaps he made a mistake, and now interceptors of Zayfod X are going to move in directly over Arkansas's base. Arkansas has a Tech 2 flag. So Tech 1 Air is now in a lot of trouble. We see a lot of Tech 2 bombers here standing by. These submarines need to walk after Zayfod X. These submarines have not been given a single move order this entire game, which is very disappointing. Zayfod X back on dry land. This Tech 2 point defense now 19 kills, been excellent. Tech 2 flak with 13 kills. And now it looks like air has been won by Arkansas. This is the wrong place to fight for Zayfod X. And looks like floating party is going to be killing off the remnants of Arkansas's base. I don't understand why Arkansas is not attacking the ACU with Tech 2 bombers. That's his only hope, but he's got it. And these submarines need to move in closer to deny Zayfod X the exit to the water. Looks like Arkansas here is just in shambles. And now finally Tech 2 bombers are going to spot Zayfod X ACU. And they will start attacking. 1,000 damage per bomb, so 10,000 health, 10 bombs is all it's going to take. These Tech 2 Seraphim bombers, excellent weapon. Zayfod X actually down to 6,000 health. Oh, and Zayfod X is going to die here. This is so ridiculous. One more bomb. And there goes Zayfod X in a game that he's absolutely won. We see Tech 2 gunships trying to kill Arkansas here. So Arkansas was about to die. And steals the game to even up this series 1-1. That was pretty ridiculous. I think Arkansas, if he would have used his units a little quicker, he would probably won it earlier. But a huge mistake from Zayfod X. He should have scouted, I'm sure he did, and realized how many Tech 2 bombers there were. And then just spammed interceptors hardcore. Well, we're going to move into Game 3 now. Hello, welcome to Blasted Rock, one of the greatest maps in history of this game. And we're in the third game in this best of 5, where we have it tied up at 1-1 between Zayfod X and Arkansas. Arkansas going UEF this time. Zayfod X also going UEF, so both players going UEF. That's interesting. I guess the UEF with the Tech 3 are quite dominant on this map. But I think the other factions are just as good. I like Aeon here. I mean, this is such a good map. Any faction has its strengths. One thing we gotta note though, Tech 1 bombers, gotta avoid those anti-air railguns. One thing that's special about this map is the number of hydros. So if you can capture these hydros in the corner, you can really go low on Tech 1 pigeons. And it appears 3 pigeons, and not clear what Arkansas is going to do after that. And Zayfod X going with a standard 2-land factory. 5 pigeon build, and he's got an early engineer on the power spam. So this is one of the things that it's good to do this always on all maps, very early engineer making power. But it is not necessarily the most efficient way to play on this map, unless you go very strong air or early gun, because you should be counting on grabbing one of those hydros. And if you're going pretty big land spam, it's really not necessary to make too many pigeons. So instead of making a whole bunch of them, you can just make like 2 or 3, just to supplement your 3rd or 4th land factory, and then get the hydro. We got a McMarine and McMarine fight, and it looks like it's 2v1. The McMarine for Zayfod X, the scout, is just going to retreat. One great thing about these fights with UEF, the Snoop has 2 damage per shot in a very long range, and it's actually it can shift these light assault bot battles very well. Great McMarines from Arkansas. Tanks for Zayfod X running after, but of course the damage has already been done. Deny an engineer, and great work. Very aggressive ACU for Arkansas. They'll move it in on the top side. So he's going to deny a mask ejector. It will be nice to deny that engineer as well, but Snoop here is going to find out and going to get shot. Only 2 land factories, more land factories are necessary for Arkansas. Zayfod X getting his 3rd. And this is where you can, for Zayfod X, you can just pause that engineer, because likely he's going to get that Hydra unless something bad happens. More McMarines for Arkansas. This time the tanks are just going to devastate him. That was some nice micro there, but not enough against two tanks. It's too much to ask for. 6 kills between those two tanks. And a couple tanks are going to move out. Air Factory 4, Arkansas, and 3 engineers and land spam. So if you put 3 engineers in the land spam early on, very dangerous, you might stall. And now it looks like successful Hydra for Arkansas. He's really going to defend this position. Looks like the ACU for Zayfod moving through the top. Arkansas getting mass extractors and retreating at the same time. Great move from Zayfod is going to shield that Hydra. Great tanks here are going to deny the bottom Hydra. Looks like a whole 5 tanks are going to move down. That's a lot of tanks early on. And now Arkansas is getting himself in trouble. He needs to get out of there. He needs to get units to the top to save his ACU, because otherwise it's going to be a very short game. No artillery here, so Arkansas is going to have some time. At this point, he's got to be shooting those units, which is very difficult to micro, because if you give the ACU order to shoot at units, it's going to stop and shoot at units, which is not what you want to be doing in this case. So you want to give an order to attack, and once it shoots, you want to give an order to move back. Otherwise, he's just going to be moving back, shooting the ACU. Looks like Arkansas, with half his health, able to retreat. The top is going to belong to Zayfod. Zayfod also has an engineer on the bottom. And map control shifting in Zayfod's favor here. It's a very important match if Arkansas can pull this off. He had those great rating Mike Marines, but I think his build order on this map was a little lacking. 6 5-line factories, 6 air, and it looks like a ghetto is in the works for Arkansas. Engineer taken out, very important. And now very even forces here on the bottom between Zayfod and Arkansas. One thing that you should definitely do if you're just standing around like this, if you have artillery, take out the middle civs and grab that mass first. And another thing, looking at both of these players, quite a bit of artillery worked into the build order, as if they're still playing Seraphim. I think you really can be in a lot of trouble on this map if you don't go nearly 100% tanks. An aggressive player that's making more tanks will beat you. Now Zayfod moving in. You can get away with it a little more with Seraphim artillery because of high fire rate, but with UEF, such a long reload on these, you want to have 1 or 2, and here come the ghettos. Arkansas, if he's going for a kill here, we got 2 ghettos, that's a total of 12 mech marines shooting Zayfod ACU. Zayfod needs something here. He's got absolutely nothing. And this is why the Tech 2 ghetto snipe is so much more effective than Tech 1, because with Tech 2 you can actually target the ACU, and here you can see the unit priority for this ghetto are the tanks. Instead of shooting the ACU, and it looks like it's an all-out flak. This is not flak spam. And all that Tech 1 flak is going to kill the ACU, and it's really the priority. Those ghettos need to get out of there. They're still very valuable. Just avoid the flak. They can do so much damage, for example, over here for defense. And actually, Arkansas can be in excellent shape. Yeah, he's going to pull him back. There's no reason to throw in the towel in this position. And it looks like Civs are going to get some kills on him. Almost. And it looks like desperation for Arkansas. He just throws his ghettos. Because one thing that Arkansas has forced, he's just turned most of Zayfod's army into flak. It looks big, but it's very weak. And if you would have used the ghettos to play defense here, so much reclaim, you would have easily taken out the bottom. He actually had an excellent move, completely turning this game. And he threw in the towel, which is very unfortunate. So hopefully people enjoyed this game, and Zayfod is 1 win away from retaining his U1700 title. Hello and welcome to the most hated map on Fortune Alliance Forever, and we are in game 4 of this best of 5. Zayfod is 1 victory away from defending his title. Both players going UEF, getting that drone, really the only faction to play on this map. And really, this map is becoming a favorite for defending champions when they get to choose a map to piss their opponent off and get a, you can say, an easy victory, unless they run into somebody who understands this map as well, in which case it's going to be very frustrating. But since a lot of players are not used to this, it's technically legal because it was on the ladder. A lot of people were also unhappy about the ladder, about this being on the ladder, and now it looks like Zayfod getting the drone right away, moving out with the mass extraction of the drone for Arkansas a little later. So this is now the advantage. The distance is now the resource. Arkansas thinking about Naval Factory, which will be a mistake. Zayfid X following the ACU. Zayfid X playing this perfectly, getting a mask extractor, then following the ACU and quicker drone. So you can see the overall strategy there is to get a factory as soon as possible. And actually, Arkansas, huge mistake. Zayfid X is just going to sit and wait till this is complete, then he'll reclaim it. Because now Arkansas has just invested into 2 different factories, and of course, you can't build 2 factories right away without building anything else, so he will absolutely stall. So at this point, this is why this map is so hard. You do something like this, you've basically lost. So Arkansas here at minute 2 has lost the game unless there's a big mistake from Zayfid X, but Zayfid X not making a mistake, he's just got straight drone. And of course Zayfid X is just going to go ahead and take his victory. You see an early engineer. Arkansas shouldn't try to put even more resources in this futile project, and now this engineer is going to move out, and Zayfid X is going to follow it. And one thing that Arkansas is going to realize, he's just power stalled. He's nearly power stalled. So now he's going to have a land factory with absolutely no resources. And very big difference to Zayfid X. Zayfid X is already getting a drone. He's already got 1 factory established. He's going to get another. And of course now Zayfid X is going to move out. If he finds this factory, okay, now it's even worse. And now Arkansas might as well just throw in the towel. I think one way you can find it, I mean, he saw where the drone was flying. It would be either here or here where the factory was. So it was a bit of luck, I guess, for Zayfid X. And now Zayfid X is going to go ahead and reclaim this. Arkansas has no more factories. He still just got the drone to his name. Well, he's got an engineer in the middle. And after 3 minutes, it's even more lost than it was a minute and a half ago. It appears that Zayfid X is going to retain his title. Arkansas being very frustrated, which is understandable. And Zayfid X says he's a dirty dog who has retained his U1700 title. So hopefully people enjoyed this final. Looking forward to week 12, which is starting now.